Hey team, RF Rift here with another video. Today what we're doing is looking at a run of Astronarch where I throw some commentary over top. Plan is to try and make this as engaging as possible, as well as help you guys go through my thoughts. First couple fights here, we just going to be bopping through some early Act 1 fights. We run through Bernie Sanders like it's no big deal, doesn't really cause us any issues. And the plan for this run, my hope is to run a poison build. So goal is to get Druid, Outlaw, the Juggernaut, and the Alchemist. Grab the Ascension Cloak early because I want to try and mix it up, give the Ascension Cloak proc as well as the Outlaw proc. So, first couple fights will go on, no real issues here actually. Druid early is so dang good and so tanky, so life is pretty easy.
We skip the Altar of Alchemy, and I get a brief sense of hope because, hey, we're going to bop this bad boy, no problem, give him the old eye poke, and roll through this pretty good. Should be pretty fine here, and all these fights are looking pretty easy peasy to start. Everything's looking nice, and it looks like we got our damage. I'm hoping for a lot of DPS, and we're only getting tank items. And then we run into Bernie Sanders again with the Bomb Boy once again. Shouldn't be anything super crazy. We got the damage. Should be pretty good to start this early off. Unfortunately, Bernie Sanders is gonna, extract his revenge from earlier, and we don't get the flawless victory. But we're still doing fine. After contemplating items for an hour, we grab another tank item because we're just gonna get thick as possible. Luckily, our cave fights early on have been super easy for us, and we've been able to run through them no problem. This one gets a little dicey here. I get real worried for the Druid. Luckily, Druid's completely fine. Then everything turns south quick. This is possibly the worst fight, and I also pop the Dwarven Cocktail in hopes of winning, and I get absolutely slapped around like it's not even funny. So as my confidence is now dwindling, we run into the Jade Bear, and this is when I really start worrying if we're going to have enough damage to even do anything. I'm assuming this run is going to be an absolute restart. Luckily for us, though, the Druid healing is through the roof here, and with a combination of the chainmail that we picked up, as well as the Ascension Cloak, we can bounce the damage around a little bit, and we're good to go. I grab the Blood Drinker here in hopes to build off the DPS of the proc that we've had with the Outlaw, and we're on to the Time Warp Totem. Or sorry, the Ancient Defender. Now, my hope is we're going to make this boy basically even more ancient and turn him into dust, and it looks like we're going to be able to do that no problem. We have enough damage, and the healing from the Druid is good. He gets a little bit dicey, but because of the fact that that blue orb, we're doing fine now. I had to debate these items for far too long because I still haven't learned what the new ones do or what they look like. But let's face it, the Tower Shield's always a good grab. Into the Merchant, I just upgrade the mail because this way we can stop bleeding and poison, and guess what? We get an Altar of Blood. Now, I didn't know this beforehand, but the Altar of Blood gets negated from the chainmail. So the Druid actually doesn't get the bleed proc from that. So that was just a free altar for the Druid. Luckily, we run into the Poison Boys next, and with the Druid being immune to poison now, basically this fight is a free wash. We're going to run through the next bit of this act, no problem, because being immune and getting that early upgrade has made this almost unkillable. Once again, I stare at items because I have no idea what I'm doing in regards to those ones yet. The new guys are still tricky and where they fit in certain comps. Run to the Cave Crawler, and I actually just completely cover the screen to read what's going on the whole time. But guess what? The Druid is taking no damage because of the negates plus the immune to poison. So we just slap out damage and make this overgrown spider to look like a tiny, tiny bug. Grab the Necrophage and upgrade here. Look, as usual, I try and make my Druid as large as possible before we get to Act 1. We skip the Viscous Goo, and now we are playing up against God. Now, there's a brief moment in time here where I'm staring at this monstrosity of a man and think, do I have enough damage to beat him? Luckily, the answer is yes. We do have enough damage to beat him. But it's a little close. Luckily for us, we knock down our god, send him back to the nightmare in which he came from, and we are on to Act 2. I end up grabbing the Bulwark here, because something tells me I'm grabbing the Juggernaut as it planned out, and the Bulwark seems pretty good. We can get some people to start punching each other, and nothing like adding a little more damage while making someone a little bit tanky. And we grab the chariot because we need that. Trying to minimize how many fights you take in events, always a good idea. Look at my route. My route isn't super great for this one. I'll explain that a little bit later as we get through this. But overall, I start bouncing around items here, realizing I don't have awesome tank items, but we should be okay. But then I realized, just like any new kid on the block, you're not as tough as you thought you are, and we start losing pretty quick here. We drop the druid, which, okay, isn't bad. Oh, and then we lose the jug as well. Just great. But we get an upgrade tower shield of the deal. Thank the Lord. Now the Juggernaut is at least a front line and can actually take some damage. So the next couple fights shouldn't be a big issue. The Simian and Alligator Boy don't really cause us any issues. We run through them no problem. And in fact, like, we look like we're doing good. My sense of hope is up. I got a little bit of praying going on that we're going to be able to run through this. At this point, I have no idea what items I'm grabbing. Mainly because I haven't really figured out an awesome DPS yet on what we've been given. But my goal is to try and have as much as I can, because, I'm going to need them later. With this collector, I sell off the Blood Drinker because it's sitting on the bench, and after realizing that too many items aren't going to be super useful. Plus, we want the blades to proc as long as possible. At the Merchant, I him and haw, but I end up grabbing the Necrophage upgrade as well as the Chainmail, because now it's fully upgraded and it's immune to basically everything. This way, we don't run into any real debuffs that should be able to stop us. The next few fights underground shouldn't be anything super crazy, but I do realize that we are running into more fights than a shonen tournament arc. This is going to be more hands flying than your Friday night fights. It is a wild run here. We're gonna be running into like 3 in a row, if not more, if I don't stop at that shop. So I buckle down and I just hope we have enough damage. These next couple of fights actually seem to, like, this fight should be going okay. We got no real issue with it. And at this point, I'm feeling pretty good. We got enough damage. The Bulwark is actually starting to do some work here, and this is when I start realizing I could probably build something real good. We focus on trying to set up and bounce the Outlaw around so he's prioritizing damage, and we should be basically good to go as we run through this. I keep grabbing items as fast as possible because I think I'm going to need them. I feel like I got small hoarding tendencies with this one, that's for sure, as I'm just stacking on as many items as possible. I grab that Blizzard Potion because Frost can slow a whole lot of things down, especially considering we're going to be getting into Act 3, and Act 3 is the worst. Now we run into the Undertaker. Undertaker, I feel like we got no problem, but I don't use any of the nice items I got sitting on my bench to make the Outlaw large enough. The Outlaw drops super quick, and I start sweating. In fact, I panic, and I pop the Water of Life, because I screwed up. What I don't realize is the Outlaw's going to get one more proc off, and they get bopped on that again. But luckily, that's enough poison to give us the win, and let's face it, I need every win I can get, especially when you're going up against elites. We also get the upgraded bow there, which is pretty nice. Run to Mama Rat, because we got to clean out these sewers ASAP, ladies and gents. With this one, I know we're not going to get a flawless victory, because she is going to at least kill someone. I also realize that the Jug is doing so much damage with the Bulwark that now it's time to make sure that he is as thick as possible. Mama Rat actually is no real issue. There was a moment in time I thought we were going to get through her without having to even lose the Juggernaut. But unfortunately we do. No big deal there. And now we start upgrading. At this point the Juggernaut's super thick, and I spend some time in the shop just, admiring the wares, not knowing what to buy, and then I decide, hey, we need to upgrade everything. The thicker we are, the better we are. So I make the Bulwark a little bit stronger, because we need that thing to do all of our damage. We run to the Baron, and we show him that we've learned, we've gotten stronger in our tournament arc here. Enough fights have made us as strong as possible, and we actually just demolished this guy. This is the fastest I've seen this fight go in a long time. Pick up our upgrade, and at this point I'm like, alright, Outlaw, you might get some damage. I was thinking about saving this for the Alchemist, but the Outlaw needs it. Then we run into our favorite gaggle of high school bullies. You know, we are the new kids on the block. These guys are the bullies. There's a part of me that thinks we might lose this one, that's for sure. But luckily, I pop the Frost and we just start throwing at him. Luckily, we can nuke through Barbara. I was a little bit worried we weren't going to get through him. And then it's easy peasy once we get the Lion's Mane knocked off. That being said, I grabbed the Healy Sword here. And we go from there. Yes, I know it has an official name, but Healy Sword sounds way better. Grab the Alchemist for more poison procs, and at this point, our team is cooking with gas. I spend my time, readjusting items for what seems like an eternity. Because at this point, I still don't know what my best setup is. And we grab the King of Swords. Basically, I want to upgrade as many times as possible, so we reduce the cost to upgrade. Our map this run doesn't actually look too bad. We set up, and we should be good to go. But then I realize I have literally 0 ability to target the back line, and I start sweating profusely. Mainly because I don't know if we're going to be able to kill these wards. Luckily, though, we got it. Poison procs work out, and we're picking up some upgraded items, which is nice. Our next fight, we realize that I need to start splitting focus. Because right now, the Juggernaut is getting absolutely nuked. So, hopefully I learn this because I need to save as much morale as possible, as well as, not lose my whole team. And I quickly just don't learn anything and let the Juggernaut get nuked again. So I need to start thinking about how to actually turn this around and start making sure that the Juggernaut isn't the only one taking damage, because if so, we don't have enough heals to keep him alive. Grab some Frost here, which is awesome. Slow some people down, as I always mention. Frost is the most OP. Fool's Gold, we don't care about. We just grabbed a little bit of money, and we are on to Angry Machamp. Now, Machamp should be a pretty easy fight, so long as he doesn't nuke our backline, but guess what? He cleaves through a couple guys, and we're going to have not a flawless victory, but at least it's a victory nonetheless. Pick up our upgrade, and honestly, none of these items are worth my time. Let's get the money and let's run. At our next shop, I'm doing my best Scrooge McDuck impression and hoarding as much gold as possible, so I just need to upgrade as many things as I can. Realizing that, hey, I don't need all of these items, I'll sell a couple. Still keep a few though, because why wouldn't I sell everything? And upgrade at least the Noble Ward, as well as the Bulwark. Get it all the way up, so it's reverting 90% of damage, making it pretty hard to actually hurt this Juggernaut. At this point, you're basically punching a wall, and he's just laughing at you as he bonks you on the head with his big old mace. The Chimera fight, this doesn't even matter. We're going to blitz through this one. As I've said before, this is the easiest bot or elite take in Act 3. Take it every time you can, and we make short work of this bad boy. At this point, I'm just going to keep grabbing as much money as possible, knowing that I got hopefully one more shop before the final end of this act. So now we just start running through fights. In fact, at this point, we do so much damage, the Juggernaut reverts so much damage that we can basically take any fight we need without even thinking. In fact, I don't even really pay attention to where these fights are going, or in fact where the enemies are attacking. But the Juggernaut is reverting so much, we're healing so much, and our poison is real high. We actually get an upgraded safety slime here, so I slapped that on the Druid to make sure that he's tanky enough to take a couple hits for us and doesn't just get absolutely nuked. We're into the Dungeon Master, and normally I stay away from this guy because A, he's spooky, B, dungeons and chains and whips. Now that's not what we need. We run away from this as fast as possible. But because of the fact that we bounce back so much damage, those whips don't mean nothing. They just bounce off. Take our upgrade and take our money, and we are on to our last couple fights. Now, right now I'm thinking I should revert this. I should change everything, right? No, I didn't change where people were attacking and just let the Juggernaut get nuked again. I swear I'll learn, people. I swear I will learn. So, now we run into our last 3 events, and they're uneventful, honestly. We don't get anything good here. Temporary Autonomy, cool, we grab a little bit of mana regen. And the Wandering Wizard, we scare him a little bit to get some items, but they don't matter. Now we're in the Balrog. We're about to tell him that we have to pass this, get right through him, give him our best Gandalf impression, and say, we are running through you, my friend. Luckily for this fight, we negate basically everything. The burn doesn't affect the Juggernaut, and we nuke through him like there's no tomorrow. I grabbed the Headdress of Fury here, mainly because I think it's going to help out the Alchemist spit out more damage. At our last merchant here, once again, I'm hoarding money just like our favorite friend Scrooge McDuck, and I upgrade everything I can. Give the Outlaw the last upgrade that we're going to have. And at this point, I'm thinking, some items, we grab the Bog Jar and the Ruin, and then we upgrade. At this point, we're just looking to try and make us as much of a gravy run as possible. We got a super beefed up, super thick Juggernaut. We'll be okay. And everything else is just extra points at this point. I finally sell up some of my items, so I'm not carrying a million different weapons in the next fight. And then we're into the Avatar fight. I actually screw up here and I waste a Bog Jar by stunning everyone when the Bog Jar is active. So that's a waste there. A bit of a misplay by me. And when I see the Alchemist go down, the back of my mind, I'm thinking, oh, good golly, I just punted this run. But luckily, we nuke through it. They only get the Alchemist, and we are through. At this point, when we get to our Oracle friend makes the ultimate sacrifice by letting us punch him a bunch of times to save the world. This fight goes smoother than the Avatar fight because we have enough damage and we have enough healing that we should be able to just completely get through everything he does. Once his ulti goes off, I get a little bit worried, but with the potion, we're good to go. And the rest of this fight is basically a cakewalk. But ladies and gents, that's the end of our run. Let me know what you think about this new style of video. Leave comments down below, and I appreciate you guys for watching. With that being said, have a good one. Thanks for watching.